reputably rubbish.
On the good and bad of the Dungeons & Dragons movies, or as I like to refer to them, the cinematic version of Homework the role-playing game. Seriously, you spend hours of your time going over glorified instruction manuals to play an even more convoluted game where you spend the majority of your time arguing like English professors over the existence of Shakespeare. I hate it when you're not wrong, but those English professors are probably also playing D&D with Vin Diesel. I would like to give a quick shout out to Nick and Jared of Thumb Tacos and Game Over Review for letting me vent, in length admittedly, about D&D. Dungeons and Dragons. There has been an explosion over the past 20 years with the increase of celebrities talking openly about their D&D campaigns, references in popular culture, and the sheer number of YouTube channels either completely dedicated to or have a subcategory for this game. Friends, the time is truly at hand for the nerd. Vorpal swords, bags of holding, beholders, and tiefling bards that literally slice you with the wit of their tongue. Talk nerdy to me. Christopher, calm down. I admit that I am a dungeon master, and I also lead a campaign of D&D players, so I have a bit of a bias. But Dungeons & Dragons has always had an underground cult following ever since it was created in 1974. Yet there was a lack of cinematic projects for the self-declared world's greatest role-playing game. For quite a while, there were more movies and TV specials about the dangers of Dungeons & Dragons than there were for the game itself. With the passing of time, we now have a few cinematic offerings that we have to discuss. For time's sake, I will not be discussing the Dungeons & Dragons animated show. I know that I'm treading on sacred ground here with so many dedicated fans to the game. Remember that these are my opinions, and I am also a fan of the game, so please be respectful. I would also like to apologize to the spouse and partners of D&D players. I know that when 2 or more D&D players get together and start talking, you check out and start wondering what the going rate is for a divorce attorney. Okay, back to the topic. I remember when I was young, my friends and I were standing outside of a movie theater and we were faced with an important choice: Dungeons & Dragons or Gladiator. They outvoted me, and so we went to go see Gladiator. Little did I know that the decision robbed me of one of the greatest accidental comedies of 2000. The 2000 movie has become legend for how bad it is, partly due to the troubled pre-production with D&D owner TSR being jerks, and partly because of how the film turned out. In a nutshell, Courtney Solomon, who owned the rights to make the D&D movie, was running out of time to make said movie before he lost the rights. That sounds familiar. So he decided to produce and direct the movie himself, despite not having any previous filmmaking experience. And wow, did it show. Costumes, acting, plot, makeup, visual effects were all terrible. Oscar award-winning Jeremy Irons played a cartoon villain with such gusto that it's absolutely hypnotic. The movie is not on my top 10 worst movies I've ever seen list because it was so successful at launching itself past the "it's so bad it's good" mark that you're not sure if you're laughing at or with the movie. The drunker you are, the better it is. So break out the meat and get together for bad movie night. Which brings us to 2022's Dungeons. Hold on a moment, you skipped the sequels. You're right, I did. I have no interest in watching any movie that may taint the brilliant farce that was the 2000 movie. But if you're doing a video on D&D movies, you can't just pick and choose which ones. You're not following the rules. My channel, my rules. This is your warning. Which brings us to Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves. This is the movie that we were hoping for back in 2000. The good thing about waiting so long is that the visual effects are advanced enough that the creatures look real to the world. It was filled with nods to the gaming experience while giving it a light enough tone so that people who have never played the game can enjoy the adventure as well. The acting was great, with a talented cast working with a script that captured the spirit of Dungeons & Dragons. While the production ran relatively smoothly, the issue came from the owners of D&D. This time, Wizard of the Coast made a bad decision that ultimately tried to capitalize on the work that the players themselves put into the game. This made many of the players upset and boycott the film. So while we got a good movie, it didn't exactly make as much money as it could have because the parent company ticked so many people off. So, to whomsoever owns D&D at the time of the release of the next movie, please don't be a dick. Which is the better of the D&D movies? Well, neither. That honor actually goes to a little-known 2008 movie, The Gamers, The Darkness Rising.
Hold on, Chris. That is not an official Dungeons & Dragons movie.
Stop metagaming my video.
No! If you're gonna make a video about Dungeons & Dragons, you need to keep it to the rules, or there will be chaos.
If you don't like it, you can go make your own YouTube channel.
Fine, but I'm taking my cheesy poofs with me.
Mr. Chris,
Yes, Gregory.
please don't kick him out. He's my ride home.
Fine. Belle, come back. Just please behave yourself and let me finish this last point.
Fine, but it better be good.
In 2008, the comedy group The Gamers made The Darkness Rising, a low-budget full-length movie. I said Honor Amongst Thieves captured the spirit. Well, The Darkness Rising embodied the soul. This movie was completely made by amateurs with little to no production experience, but it highlights the best and worst elements of Dungeons & Dragons, which is the players.
You can't use a lightsaber! It's not even the right system!
In the movie, the players play themselves in the real world while poking fun of the gaming experience. Then they would actually play themselves as the characters in the D&D world. There are likable players, and there are players who rage quit at the smallest of issues, which is exactly how it goes in real life. It was filled with a cheesy script, campy acting, and laughable special effects. Well, it may sound like these are negative points, it's actually why the movie is a joy to behold. It was self-aware, and if they would have tried to make anything more serious, the film would have imploded. Through and through, it's a love letter to what brought their friend group together and shows their passion and the bond that Dungeons & Dragons created within them. This is why The Gamers, The Darkness Rising is the best Dungeons & Dragons movie out there. Unfortunately, most people have no idea that this film even exists. I highly suggest you check it out. It is well worth the viewing. If there's a movie that you think needs more love or is in dire need of defending, comment below, let me know. In the meantime, I'm off to prep for tonight's session.
Onward to Waffles! Waffles ho!
They did good, so they get waffles.
Thank you for watching this talkie picture. Please leave a message down below, select the like picture, and subscribe to be a member of our community. Thank you.